It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
This is Straight Talk with environmental Greg Penn, the Preacher Man, and his sidekick Shannon Jones. Frank discussions of issues affecting the ATL, Fulton County, the state of Georgia, the nation, and around the world. And now, here they are, live and in living color, the team of Jones and Fan, the Preacher Man.
Straight Talk. You see, I ain't sitting in the big chair today. You see that? I'm sitting in the big chair. I got my friend, longtime friend, Harry Bowden with me. Judge Harry Bowden, Harry, all of that.
Anything but bro is okay.
I can't call you Unc.
Unc is fine. Unc is fine with the white t-shirt. Just not bro. I can't get with bro. It's so good to be here around, fam. It's so good to be here.
And I got Mr. Tate, Bishop Tate with us back again today. Rick James and Arsenio Hall.
That's a story behind that.
Yeah, I told him the story behind it last week. I told him about your retirement.
Yep.
And what a time we had. Well, you got your gold too. You know where you go to.
No, I didn't bring them, but I can bring them next week. We can make that happen. I can bring the hair too. Make that happen.
Oh Lord.
Don't do us no favor. It's all good. Now, I want to tell a story about Harry. Harry and I, years ago, when I was on WTJH, and we had a talk show. And it was not straight talk, but it was plenty of straight talk.
It was.
George was a part of our program. We bring George in, and we just have talked about things that's going on in the community and around, and legal things, things in terms of things that people may have been going through, dealing with, what have you. So the day I brought Judge Bowden on, or Harry on, to just talk to us about what you've been doing. I know you just lost your mother. You called in last week. We know you lost your mother of 94.
95.
95. And so I know you've been seeing about your mom, what have you. But other than that, what have you been doing, Harry, since you left your program that you were doing?
Wow. It's been a while.
Okay.
I actually retired in 2019,
Mm-hmm.
and that was right before COVID hit. And I was fortunate enough to come up with a little business called Streaming Vows by married people.
Okay.
And a component of that, I was able to marry people online, virtual marriages.
All right. Good.
And it worked out really well. But to be honest with you, for the past 8 years, actually 8 years, 7 months, and 26 days, I've been a primary caretaker. And I was put in that auspicious position by fire. And, we're baby boomers. I think you and I are baby boomers.
Right.
What's before baby boomers?
I'm a baby boomer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I am a baby boomer. We started the baby boomers.
You started the baby boomer.
We the baby boomer generation.
Well, what was before that?
I don't know what they called them, but see, they didn't start that until they got to us and started calling us baby boomers, and then they went to the Gen X's and the Z's and all them other alphabet.
I think we want to find out.
Yeah,
because
find
it's
out.
important.
Yeah,
it's
find
important.
out. Yeah, find out. You want to Google it?
I did, but I left my phone in the car.
Take can Google it. Take Googling it right now.
Okay.
Keep on. Yeah, he Googling it. Yeah.
But baby boomers, my generation and your generation, they call them bookends.
Right.
Between the children and the parents,
Right.
and sometimes the parents and the grandchildren, or however that goes.
Right.
But long and short, learning by fire when all of a sudden that event occurs where there's an emergency for care.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'll share this with you because I don't want to go back, and then again, I don't know. But I have 9 children.
Right.
Okay, ended up with 9.
Right.
6 biological, 3 blended, but they're all mine because I fed them.
Right.
So in 2009, I'm going back, my wife and I bought a bottle of Dom Perignon. And we bought it for the purpose of celebrating when our 9th child graduated from high school in 10 years, which was 2019. And we had planned on doing that, and the date of his graduation came to be May 29th, 2019. And on May 29th, 2019, Mom, who was then 87, 88, fell at 3 o'clock in the morning, broke her hip, and I never made it to the last child's graduation because I was in the hospital with Mom. And I say affectionately that we were able to get all of the kids out of high school and then picked up an 88-year-old middle schooler. And since then, 2019 to recently, we were a caretaker. So we never got free. And eventually we will open that bottle of Dom Perignon. So you asked me what I've been doing. I've been learning a whole new level of life when it comes to taking care of elderly. The process, the procedure, the platform, the resources that are out there. And it's been rough, Rev Van. It's really been rough, but it's been an eye-opener. And it also has been something that has caused me to look very seriously at where we are. Right. In terms of preparing that if we are fortunate enough to be that old, how have we prepared? Do we have our wills together? Do we have our trust together? Right. Do we have our chosen child or children who would do for us as we would do for our parents? Right. And it's something to start thinking about because I told my children the other day, I said, well, look, you're in like the first half of the second quarter, okay, at 40, 30, 40. Right. I'm in the fourth quarter, almost after halftime. Right. So the game has changed, and I just don't have time to play around anymore. Sure. So those are things that I've been doing: learning, loving, living, and getting ready for the next level.
No, one thing and ironic you said that. Do you have that information tape?
Yeah. Okay. Baby boomers. 1946 to 1964. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we're all in
I told you were a baby boomer.
And before that, you had the silent generation and the greatest generation. Okay. And those were back in the early 1900s.
Cool. Yeah. I told you we were baby boomers. I don't know why you want to put me in another class. I told you we started the baby boomers.
Was from what was it?
1946 to 1964. Okay. So we almost missed the baby boom.
Yeah, we're on the back end of the baby boom. Right. That's why I didn't know it went back that far.
But you learned something.
I did.
You like to not been a baby boom with me. But one thing that you did do, you talked about, and I'm glad we're having this discussion, because when we were coming up, it was like there was no nursing home and all of that for black folks. Right. If we had elderly grandparents, or we would see about them. Yeah. I mean, they would be right there in the house, and we would be the caretakers for them. And I remember my grandmother's mother, vaguely, I remember her. She was the one who saw about us when we were little children, a little bit of children. I may have been but 3, 4, 5, maybe 5 years old, but she was the one that saw about us while mom worked, and what have you. And so when my grandmother's mother got sick, she was seeing about her, right? And then when my grandmother got sick, my mom and my auntie saw about her. My grandma died in our house, right? So I mean, so it was like there was no putting your home mama, your grandmama, your daddy in no nursing home. You were gonna see about them until
and that goes back to we repeat what we saw. Right. So if you saw your mother taking care of her mother, then you took care of your mother. Right. And that's just how our community was then. Right. But now it's amazing how one mother could raise 10 children alone, but 10 children can't take care of that one mother when she gets what she can't do for herself.
Right. But my brother, thank God for my brother. My brother, because of all the things that my sister was saying about my mom, right? And my mom got dementia. And my other sister was saying about my dad. So the girls were taking care of mom, dad, and then my sister passed, and then my brother took in my mom.
Right.
And then my brother, he went and took my daddy from my sister and my elder sister and brought my dad to take care of both of them in his home, him and his wife. And I always appreciated his wife because she was there, just like your Ross with your mom, was right there helping him with mom. You know, I'd go by because I'm, you know, my brother said, bro, don't worry about it because, you know, I know you're busy. I know what you're doing. You got a church, you're starting your church, your ministry and what have you. So, you know, I got it. I'm going to take care of mom and dad. And I always commend him for that because he was the one that was the problem child. He gave him a problem, right? So he you know that song about Don't Ride.
Well, no, I'm the one you talking about. Yeah. But I'm thinking about the deny. Don't
deny your mother.
Yeah, what is it? Don't deny your mother, Shirley Caesar. And in the song, there were two boys.
Right.
Yeah.
That was Dorothy Norwood.
No, that was Shirley Caesar had Shirley Caesar has one too.
Okay.
When she talks about her mother, about these two boys.
Two boys. One was wealth, and then the other one was the troublemaker.
Right.
But then he came back and said about him. But I was thinking about the old apple tree, about the ribbon, the daddy.
Right.
Yeah, I was thinking about that song. Yeah, but that was my brother. That's what he did. He was the problem child. He just, you know, but well, you know, mischievous one. So
Right.
But anyway, but when mom and dad got old, he took care of them, and one of the things that I can thank God today, like a lot of people have problems when their parents pass away. He and I never had any problems. We agreed on what was going to happen. We agreed on all the arrangement. We agreed on everything. And that was, but my mom taught us not to be selfish, to love one another. You know, I tell this story. This is a true story. You know, when I was younger, you remember the Red Rock cookies where they had the 2 in the pack, right? The 2 cookies was in the pack, right?
That's a little bit before my time. But I know the concept.
Yeah, I'm following concept too.
I'm following concept.
Yeah, we can follow the story.
Y'all want to tell him a bit.
We can follow the message.
That 44 is a long way from that 64. But
go ahead and tell the story.
I know Red Rock.
I'm sure the audience can follow it too.
Thank you so very much. Thank some of you guys. You understand what I'm saying? They used to call them rock and roll cookies. They still call them selling. Then they call them planks now.
Mm. Oh, okay, planks.
Yeah, you call them planks now.
Okay.
Yeah. Right on.
I know about the planks. Okay, let's go.
But anyway, so I had bought one, right? And so I'm eating one of the cookies. And so my brother said, "Hey man, give me one of them cookies. Let me have the cookies." I was like little rascal. You can't have any. I'm dating myself, little rascal this time, and you can't have any. You can't have any. You know what I'm saying? You can't have any. So I'm eating the cookie. My mom heard when I told him that. She snatched the cookies out of my hand, threw them on the ground, broke off both of them. She said, "If he can't have now, you can't have one. You're going to share with y'all brothers. Y'all going to share, and y'all going to look out for one another." And that was a message that she taught, and we live by that today. And so we shared when it happened with my mother and father. He was able to take on the load, willing to take on the load, and for me to do what I could do to help him do that. But he was willing to have them in his home, and everything.
So do you think we're missing that today? And if so, why are we missing that?
I think a big part, I can only speak from personal experience.
Sure, please do.
What I've seen, I did spend a 6 to 8 month period on probate court and dealing with the issues of the disposition of property with families. And what I did see was a divide between those who were lucrative, those who had funds. They still fought. Okay, right. But their fight, their internal fight, the ones that I saw, the issue didn't have anything to do with money. It was about some underlying issue they had as children.
Right.
Now, coming back to the Black community, the reality that I saw was that it was about some sort of material gain or financial gain. So when you look at it, or when I've seen it from my perspective, when finances come in and you have one who feels as though they have been undermined or do not have enough or never got enough, that underlying feeling goes back to what's in it for me?
Right.
What am I going to get out of this? And I've heard this phrase a couple of times, and it really, it is what it is, and that is, well, you're her favorite.
Right? Oh, yeah.
Okay. She gave everything to you, so it's on you. And I've seen a situation where one who is a caretaker will not ask for help,
right,
because the other one, who was not a caretaker but a willing person, they did not want them to interfere with any financial responsibilities or financial gain. Because let's be real now, when you start dealing with the health care of our seniors as well as ourselves, you're talking about a real financial burden right now.
Right, you are.
You really, really are. And for those who have worked and saved and have something, the marshaling of that is very, very tricky. Because if you don't marshal it the right way, it will be gone. Now, one of the things that I experienced in this by far learning was the visiting recovery centers, and they used to call them old folks homes.
Right.
And I was told by a person who worked with the state, very pointedly, make sure you go by and check on your mother. This is when she was in recovery.
Right.
Make sure you go by and check on your mother, and do it so that they won't ever know when you're coming.
Right.
Okay? So I would go 3 times a day.
Right.
It might be 6 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock, and then 8 o'clock. Okay? It was very timed so I could see what was happening.
Right.
But one of the saddest things that I experienced was that if I went at 6 o'clock in the morning and saw an elderly person sitting in the corner, lunched over, and not being tended to, apparently, or my perception was that they were sitting there, it was sad.
Right.
But to come back at 1 o'clock and they were still there.
Right.
And come back at 5 o'clock, and they still sitting there. What was very evident to me was that person didn't have anybody to look after them.
Right.
And that's where you get to a point where, what resources does our community have, does the family have, to make sure that even if they have to go to a recovery center or old folks home, that there is some continuity of relationship, some continuity of care, where they can go and say, why is my person still in this situation? But it's astounding that there are family members who really don't care.
My sister is director of senior care nursing home, and I really wish I'd known we were going down this road today. I would have invited her to come, because she probably could answer some of these questions or talk about some type of program that she's seen over the years that could help some of our seniors, some who may be watching this broadcast, and they have parents in those places, but they just don't know where to find help.
And that's a key. Education.
Right.
Okay, what to do. Now, years before, my mom fell, broke her leg, and got into, the need of care. She invited us to a trust, will, seminar at the church. My brother and I attended, but it was at a time where we did not want to discuss it.
Yeah, didn't really want to deal with it, yeah.
We as family, we as a generation, we as black folk, we don't want to talk about death. We don't want to talk about the inevitable. And it's something that keeps us from having a knowledge base on how to work with it. And, you know, I'm no exception. Recently, I have spoken to my children about it. But it was not until my oldest daughter actually came in, and she just had a child, but she came in and they stayed a while, and conversation led to her saying, Dad, I just did not realize how much you have to go through to take care of a parent.
Right.
Until she saw me taking care of my mom.
Right.
So it's a conversation we need to have. It's a conversation we need to bring up. It's a conversation we need to start and sustain somehow intergenerational. Okay? Mom's there 95. Kids run there. Her youngest grandchild, great-grandchild, is there from 2 months up to 8 years old. Hey, Grandma. Hey, Great-Grandma. Da-da-da-da-da. They see me wiping grandma's mouth. Right. They see me doing the necessary things, but there's no conversation about it.
Right.
And right now, grandma passed while they were in one part of the house. She was in another part of the house. We have not told them that she has passed.
Right.
We're going to leave that up to their parents when they come pick them up for the summer.
Sure, okay.
And I don't know whether that's good. I don't know whether that's bad. But I know it's a conversation that will occur now that I've gone through it, because they have been playing now for a week and a day, and they haven't seen Grandma.
Right.
They didn't see Grandma go out the house.
How old are they?
They're 8, 3, and 4.
So the 8-year-old hasn't even asked?
The 8-year, they have not, because they're in the throes of summer with granddaddy.
Right.
You know.
Right. Let me stop right there at that point, because I think one of the things is, and going back to what you said, is seeing my as a little, the impression it had on me with my grandmother, with her mother, right? And it grew up in me, right? It grew up in my brother. It grew up in my sister, you know what I'm saying? It grew up in us because we saw them, and we were little bitty children. Don't let nobody sit up and say you ain't impressing little kids. Little kids don't know. They don't forget. Just like you didn't forget, they do not forget. What you showing them, they will remember it. So to that, when I'm going back to the story I was talking about my brother. When Mom was living, Mom's house was paid for and everything, and she had retired, and I told her something before she retired from school board. And the school board, they don't pay Social Security. They give you a little pension. So she had a little small pension like that.
They didn't.
Yeah, they do it now.
Okay, well they did.
They just started.
Okay. But that's good because my mom only got $800 a month.
Mm-hmm.
She only got $800 a month. Then she got a part of my dad's Social Security, so she maybe get about $1,200 a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but $1,200 a month, you're trying to live off $1,200 a month and pay a light bill, gas bill, and all of that. You can't do it. That was my mom died in the 90s. She died in the 90s. But my wife and I, we took care of her, any repairs she needed in the house, a light bill, a gas bill, and those bills, we made sure her bills and stuff, she was comfortable, right? So when my brother did what he did, he said, well, brother took care of Mom all this time, see, and made sure that Mom was good, then I can do what I need to do now. See, one of the things I think that many people don't think about, that these things that you showing your kids, that's how your kids are gonna do you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you, what you've done, if you've shown your kids and your grandkids what you did for your mom and the love that you showed your mom. So somebody is going to do the same thing for you because they seen it. See, that's a part of our heritage. And I keep saying that we as black people, they stole our history, but we gave them our heritage. Because there was not a time that we did not take care of the seniors, the older people, because they took care of us, and they made sure that we got the things that we needed and the butt whippings that we deserved. Right. I mean, they did these things for us because they loved us. And when that time comes for them, then we need to be there for our parents. And I think what you're saying, Harry, is that a lot of siblings, and it's not, they don't have no 10 children and all that stuff. It's 1 or 2, what have you. I've seen siblings and the parent die and being a minister. I've seen them when the parent died and leave property for them, that they lose the property. And I used to wonder, why did they lose the property? But I found out most recently that if you have a mortgage still on that property, even if you give a will, maybe you can clarify that. Even if you have a will to you, if that property is not in the trust, then they can come back and say, the mortgage comes in 90 days and say the mortgage is due in full. So then many people don't have their money to pay their mortgage off. So now you've lost that property.
So they can remove the monthly payments and say they want the mortgage paid in full.
In full.
At the death of the mortgage carrier.
Right.
Really? It's all contractual, but that is something that's normally in there. They have the right to call in that mortgage. Right. But the reality is they don't care as long as it's paid.
Right.
They do. That's been my experience, and that's been my understanding. And the ability to call is always, they can call it back for a number of reasons. Okay. But as long as it's being paid, they don't do that.
But the reality is, it's in my mom's name. Okay, it's in my mom's name. Mm-hmm. I'm paying the mortgage, right? And my mom was paying it.
Right.
Okay. Now the taxes on the property. Right. So I got to pay the mortgage because most people don't have, a lot of older people didn't have mortgage and insurance. They pay their taxes themselves.
Right.
See, so then when the taxes are due, then I got to pay the taxes in my mom's name. But it's a homestead that's given to that piece of property. So what happens now that the property is, this is discussion for us, and maybe you know, maybe you don't know. But if that property is in my mom's name, or this is my grandma's name, and my grandma willed it to my mom, she never took the property out of my grandma's name, and now it's willed to me, and now I'm paying the mortgage, and I'm paying the taxes, but I'm paying it in the name of my grandma who's been dead for 10 years. And then somebody said, wait a minute, hold up. Are you the legal owner of the property? Am I the legal owner of the property because of the will to me?
Unless it is placed in your will, has to be probated.
Right.
That gives the transfer of title, which is different. Okay.
What if there's no will?
Then it should be probated. Okay. Needs to go probated. Okay. The title will stay in the name of the last person in which the title conveyance exists.
Right.
Okay. So to convey the title, it should be probated. It needs to be probated. Okay. It has to be probated. Okay. But there's a difference between the title and a mortgage note. The mortgage is separate and apart.
Right.
And taxes.
Right.
Okay. Most tax assessors' offices now will give a receipt for the last person who paid the taxes.
Right.
So say that the tax was originally in mom's name.
Right.
But this particular year, you pay the taxes.
Right.
Then the receipt will go to whomever paid it.
Right.
Now, whether or not you can deduct that and use it for tax purposes is another whole realm.
Right.
See, it gets it can get very, very confusing when one thing happens. That mortgage ain't paid.
Right.
Okay? The title transferred, you cannot transfer a title that's not a title that's not in your name. So you have to get it in there. How do you get it in there? You go through probate. Okay. And probate is simply an orderly distribution of assets. Okay. That's it.
Well, can we take a break, and we'll be right back. This discussion is much needed for you, and you. It's Straight Talk with yours truly, Greg Fan, the Preacher Man, and my guest, Harry Bowden, and I was just going to call you Rick James. Bishop James.
I knew you were.
We'll be back on the other side with Miss C. Hey, listen, do you know where your children are? And I'm going to tell you this. We've been talking about this. Make sure that you understand what we're saying today. And do as our parents do with us, did us. Don't let your kids play with guns.
Hi, Miss C here with your 3-minute news blast, or more or less. Hey, Pastor Greg. Hey, Bishop Greg. Hey, Pastor Shannon. Hope you all are doing well, too. Listen, you're invited to join Liberty International Church Door of Hope Ministries for their Western Sunday. Bring your Bible, wear your boots for a hallelujah, shouting good time, praising the Lord, August 30th at 10 a.m. Liberty International is located at 1362 Metropolitan Parkway in Southwest Atlanta, where Bishop Greg Fan, the Preacher Man, is overseer. Mount Olive Missionary Baptist will hold their annual revival August 11th through the 13th at 7 p.m. Special guest speakers include on Tuesday, Derek Shelton, pastor of Springfield Baptist in Molina. Wednesday, Terrence Curtis, pastor of Calvary Baptist in Jonesboro. And closing it out on Thursday is Christopher Wimberly, pastor of Honey Hill Baptist in Atlanta. St. Stephen Missionary Baptist at 2670 Hogan Road in East Point invites you to the first pastoral anniversary celebration of Reverend Ken Jelk Sr., August 16th at 10 a.m., with guest speaker Reverend Dr. James S. Hill, pastor of Greater New Light Missionary Baptist in Atlanta. All right. Well, I thought I had more. I've run out. Anyway, listen, there are 4 things I'd like for you to do. I'd like for you to subscribe. I'd like for you to like us, and those little buttons are right there on the front of the screen. And then I'd like for you to leave comments. Let us know how we're doing. We would love to hear from you. And also share us. Don't keep Straight Talk News to yourself. Let everybody know what you know. We are Straight Talk News, and I'm Miss C. Okay? And listen, if you have an event you'd like for us to announce, just email it to us at straighttalknews1362@gmail.com. That's straighttalknews1362@gmail.com. And listen, I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I hope that it continues until the next time we see each other again, okay? Now listen, in the meantime and in between time, may the Lord God bless you real good. Bye.
Are all responsible for keeping us safe and healthy, because the root of the solution lies in collective action.
Laws alone cannot stop a bullet. It's up to individuals to take action. They have to make sure their guns are stored securely and out of reach of kids or those at risk of suicide.
Well, communal education addresses this individual action issue as well. We can teach kids about the dangers and
Judge,
about the misuse of guns.
I don't think you realize that my opponent is blatantly
stating
arguments that have no evidence to back them.
If you're blaming me for having no evidence, I haven't seen you bring up any statistics.
Judge, think about it. Do we really want to blame all of this on the community, our friends, our doctors, and our teachers? No.
Well, I completely disagree.
I'm not going to listen to points that are completely ridiculous.
Point of inquiry. Do you guys even realize that the #1 killer of children and teens are gun injuries?
And it's not just mass shootings. It's homicides, unintentional injuries, and suicide.
Why are we fighting about this?
With so many people stuck in their views, we're not talking about it altogether.
Is figuring out who to blame really solving the problem at hand?
We must set aside our differences and embrace open conversations with everyone.
You're probably starting to realize now, this is not a debate.
This is a message to you all to start a conversation right now. We yield our time.
Well, Miss C, I tell you, Miss C, thank you so very much. Miss C does a wonderful job of news and information. Thank you, Miss C. Hey, listen, it is important. It's important that you understand that the beloved community is us. We have to love on one another. Jesus teaches us to love you one another as I love you. And love your parents. And parents, do things in front of your kids that they will respect you and they will respect others. So when your time comes, they'll be there for you, right? The other thing I want to say is, and we're going to come back to our topic, but I want to say as we're coming back from the break, the young people that's up here debating about guns, and guns do not kill, people kill. And we have too many people using guns that's killing. Every day we turn on the news, someone has gotten shot or someone has gotten killed. The Bible teaches us, thou shalt not what? Kill. So get your kids in church, get them in somewhere where they can learn the word of God. But let me put it like this, don't get them in church. Take them to the house of worship where they can worship God and understand how to worship him and understand the word of God. Because we're supposed to be the church. The building is a house of what? Worship. All right, so let's get back to our topic now. You know, the preacher man got to get my sermon in. I had to get my sermon in.
And so it shall be.
You want to take up an offering?
Yeah, I'm going to start with you, Rick James. Yeah, but you know, it's interesting we're having this topic because I was listening this morning and they were talking about, one of the podcasts was talking about Donald Trump and, all the care that he has, like stuff for nursing home and all this stuff. I mean, all the attendants and people will have to see about him. And he they say he's got dementia, and I believe he got something because every time he opened his mouth, can you believe anything Donald Trump says? But we ain't talking about Donald today. But the reality of it is they closing out all of these nursing homes. When we started talking about mental health, and I understand that Reagan was the one that started closing out mental health facilities by taking monies away of federal dollars to have all these mental institutions. We're looking at what's happening with hospitals. We're losing all of our hospitals, right? These things were needed for our community, right? So when we talk about nursing homes, they've been called old folks home, nursing home, recovery centers. Yeah. They just keep changing the name, but it's the same concept, right? So we're going to go back to what we were talking about from the probate court perspective in terms of what would you say to a young person that has, just the three of them or the two of them? What would you tell them if they have an elderly parent and their parent doesn't have a will? What would you say to them in terms of where your mother died or your dad died, right? And we got so many of these blended families now, right? Yeah. The blended family thing is the thing. We got blended family. Well, this is my daddy, but he was my daddy too. This is my mama, and she's my mama. And even though she had two husbands, but she both our moms, right? But I mean, so how Do you see a lot of that kind of stuff in terms of blended families when it comes to the death of a parent leaving home properties and those kinds of things?
I mean, I have seen it.
Okay.
It can be very divisive.
Right.
Or it could be put together where everybody's on one accord.
Okay.
It goes back to what we shared before about the communication, the talking, the planning, and not a lot of people do it. Normally, what I have seen is that people kind of look out for their children. If they're not their biological children, and that other biological parent has not looked out for them, then, you know, they could get the short end of it. Legally, secession meaning the way that property, money goes, it goes from a parent to a biological child. Okay? It's only when a child is adopted that they would be beneficiaries of an inheritance. So it's pretty straightforward, but where it gets muddled, again, is because people don't communicate. You know, what I would say, and the question what I would say to a young person, that's very difficult because what I would say to a young person is something that hopefully that makes them listen, okay? And it was, you know, something's very simple. They have a car, right? Give me your car, right? I'll take your car. It's mine now. What? What do you mean it's yours? It's mine, okay? Why is it mine? Because you ain't paid for it. The title is in somebody else's name, and I can just come take it from you, okay? They're not going to take that. They're not going to listen to it. They're going to be very, very angry. Stop. That's the same thing that happens when your parent dies and you have no clear title or plan on possessions.
That happens a lot in churches too. Secession.
Right.
Yeah.
When there's no plan.
Right.
And like I said, a lot of times we put our heads in the sand and think, you know, we're just not going to deal with this, right?
Kick it, worry about it down the road.
Yeah, we don't deal with it. But I have a question. So there's a parent, and the family is toxic. Mm-hmm. So how does that parent with the children, for whatever reason, the underlying factors that happened maybe playing Jack Stone 50 years ago, and they're still carrying that.
Jack Stone.
And this parent knows I
what's
need to
going
do
to happen.
something.
Yeah.
So how would you, if they're watching, how would that parent navigate something like that?
It is so funny because logically, and I think it does happen, a parent knows the strengths and weaknesses of each child. Yeah. And a parent knows that a stronger child who can handle something will be the appropriate one. But as a parent, they always are protective of the weaker one. So sometimes parents can cause the dissension. And by not settling a matter. Now, what I would say is this: if a child has reached the age of maturity and understanding, the conversation between that person and the parent needs to be very, very blunt, very, very straight up. It needs to be that I will take care of you, but to do so, this is going to be required. And if you don't want to do that, that's fine. But it's now incumbent upon that child to determine, wait a minute, what am I willing to do? Because you're talking about changing your whole life.
Absolutely.
And I can bless you. I can go back, and I will just share with you. Literally, my whole life changed. To retire from a profession, retire practically from a profession, where I was in good stead. I mean, it was going, it was moving, things were really working. But to retire and then be relegated or relegate yourself to a point where, I mean, it's changing your whole life. You don't go anywhere. You're not involved in the circles that you used to be involved in. You're not active. Why? Because you can't do it and be a good caretaker.
Right.
You can't do it.
Well, the one thing that, not only that though, and this is, I'm going back to parenting now, when you have a child, to your point, when you have a child, then you have to spend time with that child. So your life change. You can't be the person that's staying out all night long and going to the club and doing the things and all those kinds of things. You have to give up certain stuff that you do or was doing in order to be a parent to that child. See, and that's what's happening a whole lot. Is to your point, with a lot of parents are not being parenting their children to help them to understand what it means to be a parent. You know, what it means to be a parent, right? Because you can't be with your children and all that, and harder with your children, all this stuff. That's not parenting. Parenting is disciplining them when they're wrong, encouraging them to do what's right, and those kinds of things. So what you're saying is that I certainly agree, because you do have to give up. You know, you have to give up. You know, that you got to. You can't quit jobs. I mean, you can't run from this job to this job, because you got to make sure your family got a place to stay, they got food to eat. So you have to give up a whole lot of stuff to be a parent. And I understand when you talk about, but in terms of just your life just stop.
Yeah.
Because now I got to be the parent of my mama.
Yeah.
I got to be the parent of my dad. I remember when we took my dad his keys. It hurt him, it hurt me to take his keys, because I knew that if I didn't take his keys, he was gonna keep on having accidents.
Yeah.
He could have killed himself or killed somebody, but it hurt me now because it took away his independence.
But and I understand what you're saying, Bishop. My concern is not you and your brother,
right,
because you guys worked it out.
Right.
My sister, my brother, and me, my mom passed, we worked it out.
Right.
But there are parents out there that their children I'm talking about grown children.
Yeah.
And they're just at war.
And
it's pulling on that parent, because even if they want to do a will, they know as soon as I put Greg's name on there, Rollin gonna be destroyed. If I put Rollin on there, Greg is going to be destroyed. What does that parent do?
Go on, Harry. I'm going to let you understand.
That parent has to be responsible enough to realize who's going to take care of them.
Do that. Yeah.
They have to be, because if not, then they run the risk. And most people know they run the risk, and they're going to go with the stronger child.
Absolutely.
And they're going to do what's necessary because they understand, but at the same time, what they will encourage that stronger child to do is have a relationship with the other child. I mean, and I'm just get very, very straightforward and what is it? Transparent.
Right.
Okay, transparent.
But Harry, one thing you're saying that, but it may be not your biological child. It may not be your biological child. It may be your child that has been there for you. That's not your biological child.
Yeah, that's right.
That you know that will handle the business and will do right by the other one.
Or not even your child at all.
Not
biological. It is somebody who is an adopted person, not legally, but somebody who has been there for you.
And that's what I want us to tell that person. It's okay.
Right,
it's okay to give them the strength and the courage to make that decision, because some of them may not have put a will out now because I don't want to deal with it. Because if I have a will, that means that I may lose someone, because if they ask Mama, who did you leave home to? Well, I left it to Greg because he's the strongest child. Well, that may crush me, even though I'm weak.
You know something? Blood doesn't make you family.
It don't.
It only means you're related.
All right.
What makes a family is how you treat each other, what you do for each other, with each other, the love of Christ, if you will.
Right.
Okay? It's that makes you family. And there are blood relatives that are like oil and water.
Oh, yeah.
And they have their own issues. One, more so than the other. But there's at some point in time, you stop caring about somebody who stops caring about you.
You can't. And let me just say,
you can't stop or you can't.
No. I'm saying
you can't care.
You can't care. You can't keep caring about. Because I got siblings, and I know which sibling who's gonna look out for me and who's gonna make sure that things are done right. If I should leave, and if my wife is gone, and I'm still here, and then I leave, I got siblings who I know that's gonna do us right, and the same thing with her. And it may not be my biological child; it may even be my niece. Yeah. I may put my niece in charge of my affairs. I mean, you got to know who's gonna do right with the people, regardless of how they feel and whatever. You can't, because one thing that you cannot do is you can't worry about and concern yourself about their anger or their madness. But they put themselves in that position. You didn't put them in that position. You made everybody equal. Now, unless you created that. Now you can create it. That's how my mama, she stopped it at, but you can create it because if you see it and you don't check it when they're young, early, then it's on you. Right. You created that problem. So but still, if you got a lot of things that you want to, leave, then you can do the will. And you can say, this one gonna get this one gonna get this, and this one gonna get this.
Oh, you know something even better?
Sure.
Give it to them while you're living.
Yeah. Oh, you can.
That avoids probate. That avoids the whole issue of any type of dissension between people. Give it to them while you're still living.
But see, could I give my house to my son?
Absolutely.
Could I give it to my daughter?
Joint tenants with right of survivorship.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Now.
You avoid probate. You avoid the taxation of it for inheritance and everything else. Give it to them. They don't get it fully until you pass. Okay. But giving it to them now, all right, gives them the title, all right, but they don't have a right to do whatever they want.
So how is that done? You go to the courthouse, again, if someone's watching, they just heard that option. How was that done?
You call me at 445. Go ahead. No. You can't go to an attorney and you want to get a deed. Right. You want to get a deed with joint tenants with right of survivorship. And I will give them my number. Can I give them my number?
You can give them.
678-768-3696. That'll get me to the
Do it again. Number. Get the number again.
678-768-3696.
It's going to be on the stream anyway.
Okay.
I'll put it up.
And a lot of disposition of property, a lot of passage, a lot of transference of property is smart. Okay, you talk about a trust, but it doesn't necessarily have to be in a trust. Right. I mean, give it to them while you're still living. Mm-hmm. You still retain control of it. Okay, you still retain ownership of it. You just have a joint owner. Now, unless they're gonna just be really, really mean and physically abusive or whatnot, they can't do anything because they have to still be with you until you pass.
I'm thinking about the prodigal son when he told his father to give him his inheritance. That's just like saying, Dad, I want you dead, because your inheritance didn't come until you died. That just crossed my mind when you were talking about that.
Well, or he may have had it worked out where a portion of his estate was already, and he said, give it to me now. Okay, here you go. But that's all you get.
Right.
That's all you get.
Listen, and that's the story of the prodigal son. That's all he got.
He got a portion.
He got that portion. Now, I think this is a good conversation to have, and right here on Straight Talk. And I'm going to put the number for you to have it. But they're going to have, and we're going to have here at church sometime real soon, this discussion around trust, this discussion around what do you do? Don't wait until you get so old and decrepitated and sick and cannot handle your affairs, but handle your affairs now. Especially when you're in a blended family. Do it now. And even though you're not in a blended family, do it now. And it may be a niece, it may be a nephew, it may be somebody that you have known it from childhood, but they've been taking care of you even more than your own children.
It may be a son-in-law.
It may be.
Or a daughter-in-law.
It may be. But whoever it is, just think about it. And when we come and we have it here, we talk about the trust, the things that Harry's talking about now. You got some good questions you ask attorneys, and to find out what route you want to take. Because everybody's not one size fit all for everybody. No. Everybody's situation ain't the same, right?
That's right.
So, because if it's an only child,
then there's a lot of problems eliminated.
Right.
A lot of problems.
Right. So
I'm blessed, man. I just don't think my children, I have 2 children, and like when my mom passed, she didn't have a will. We just got together and divided the house up by 33%, and whatever she had, and we just went on. But that's not the case.
Not in all cases. It's when you find a family like that, it is, it's unique. Yeah. And it's really, really good. Yeah. Because you normally will have somebody who feels slighted for some reason. They didn't get enough grits when they were young and felt that you took all of them.
And you had the last biscuit. I couldn't get the last biscuit because you grabbed it all the time.
And that's a psychological something. That's a mental issue.
Yeah.
And you have people who have that, and you got to protect yourself from it.
I have one other thing I wanted to ask about this. This is what we're discussing. When you have heir property, now, where it's in the will that if I should die, that this property goes to my 2 children, then it's will to their children. That's what the old people used to do. Mm-hmm. And that's why a lot of property was people left, because it was just too many people that was tied to that property, right? So how do you deal with that from a probate perspective? Like, let me just say, me and my brother, we have property, right? But it was wills to my mama and my auntie, and then my cousin was with him, but he was dead, so the property was willed to his daughter, then her children, and then my mama's children. So then when my sister died, then it was willed to my nieces, and then their children, and then so on and so on and so on forth. How do you deal with property like that when it's willed to so many different heirs? And then at the end of the day, this is what happens. The taxes, when the taxes are due, you paying the taxes, right? So now you're saying, well, nobody living in the house is going down, you're trying to still keep it up. Then they say, well, come on, we're going to condemn this property. We can sell the property, but everybody got to pay the taxes. And then I don't want to pay taxes. Everybody want to not get the property to you, right? But it's that whole mess where you got so many heirs to the property. So many heirs, the grandchildren. Because see, the old folks feel like this. This ought to be the family house for anybody in the family. So everybody will always have a place to stay. When they bought the property, they bought it with that in mind. That I wanted my kids and my grandkids to always have a place they could stay, that they wouldn't have to be outdoors. But that don't work no more, not in this time. That's why you got so much abandoned, blighted property on the west side and some certain areas, because it was an heir property, and they end up going into the Promise Keepers and all these other people, just to get rid of the property, right? And now they buying up all the property over there and got all the property over there. And people say, what's happening? How are we doing all of this? Because all that property was our property. And when you start dealing with our property, nobody really gains but the developers.
One of the things that I will share, and that is a common scenario when you start talking about the disposition of property, where the instrument which disposes of it is a will that has language of perpetuity. Right. In other words, where it goes on and on and on because of lineage. Right. Okay. The probate court is the court that it formalizes the formal disposition of property. Okay. The law is very clear. Anybody who has a right to that particular property has to be notified and given an opportunity to come and say whatever they want to say. Okay? The problem exists where you have someone who either doesn't notify or doesn't know. Now, you both probably are familiar with this. Probate court can take a long time. Right. All right? Okay. While you're going through this proper process of notification, allowing the opportunity to be heard, what still has to happen? Maintenance. Right. All of that. Upkeep. All of that. And taxes. All of that. A large division comes when you have one responsible person saying that I will do the upkeep, or they do the upkeep, the maintenance, and then all of a sudden you have somebody from back yonder saying, well, wait a minute, I ought to get a part of that too. Mm-hmm. The probate court can handle that, because if you are an heir, one of the responsibilities that you want to take on is to preserve. All right? Right. Now, say you're the administrator of the estate, or you're somebody who has pitched in and preserved. You got to look at the numbers of it. This is where the business of probate, the business of property come in. You got to look at the numbers, the value of the asset. Okay? What's the value of this particular piece of property? Is it worth me preserving and protecting? That's the first thing in your mind. The second thing is, if you do that, you have actually a dual position in this. Not only may you be the executor, you're also a creditor. In other words, the estate owes you. Right. Meaning that all these heirs owe you. Okay. And that's how you make sure that you don't get screwed for the most part. You have a claim against the estate. Right. All right? What's your claim? I protected, I preserved for all these years, and I'm entitled to get back what I've done to preserve it. Who am I entitled to get back from? Well, if these other people who claim it don't have it, then if we sell it, then who gets it? My claim needs to be satisfied. How can my claim be satisfied? If you're there and you say you don't want to pay me you don't want to pay me your half, I tell you what, I'm going to sell it, i.e. refinance it, and I'm going to give you your little pennies minus what I've already put into it. So it's a business proposition that you can enter. The problem is, well, I'm not going to say that. What often happens, the situation is that people don't understand it, right? And you get represented by a person who may explain it to you, but you may still not understand it, or the explanation is not full. And guess what? That person also has to be what? They'll be compensated. They got to be paid. So if you're not paying the right person that's representing your interests, you're not paying the right person representing your interests, then where are they going to get their money from? It becomes a business proposition at the end. Because property is what? Property is value.
It is.
And it has a valuation, and it's a business proposition. If this right here is worth enough for us to fight over, then it's worth enough for us to preserve. If you don't want to pay your part, you don't want to pay your part. Let's look at the present value of this. It's $2. If we split this right here, 2 divided by 3 is what? 75 cents?
Pretty much.
Roughly? Mm-hmm. Here you go, 75 cents. Give me your 9.
What?
All right, you don't want it? Oh, you want it? Okay, yeah. So now we got 50-50. Right. It's worth $2. You want $1, I get $1. Right. Okay, but guess what? It needs the grass. It needs some shining done. It needs done. Mm-hmm. That costs 25 cents to get done. Give me your 25 cents. Okay. You don't want to give me 25 cents? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to do it. Right? Right. Once I do it, now, when you come back you want, I got a claim against the state for preserving it. That's 25 cents less that you get because you was lazy. You didn't do what you were supposed to do.
Right, right.
So it's a business proposition.
Oh, that much. But listen, I'm going to give you his number. Yeah. We have his number up on the screen. So you can call him, you can talk to him. But we're going to have a seminar here to deal with a whole lot of stuff. And one thing I think that you said that I totally agree with you, and as I get older and I understand when my mom used to try to have that conversation with us, we didn't want to hear what we hear. But I realized that, I've had that conversation with my kids. Me and my wife, we had a conversation with the kids. They didn't want to hear it, right? But you had a conversation. You got to have the conversation. Yeah. Because death is inevitable. And you don't know when, you don't know where, you don't know how soon. You got to have the conversation. And I'm saying that to everybody. You got to have the conversation. Your burial plans, your insurance policies. You got to have the conversation because you don't want to leave that on them and they don't know what to do. Somebody gonna need to know what to do and how to carry out your final wishes. Okay? As a minister, we do funerals all the time. And more lately, we're doing more funerals because a lot of people are dying. God's calling a lot of people home. And a lot of people don't have, people call me, what cemetery should I call? Or what cemetery should I go to? What funeral home should I use? Well, what is your policy? We need to do a GoFundMe. GoFundMe, you don't need a GoFundMe. You need to fund yourself. You need to get you some insurance. You need to don't rely upon the church. Don't rely upon your family member or anyone to take care of your final arrangements. Get your business fixed yourself. It said, get your business first fixed with Jesus while you still have the chance. But get your earthly business fixed so that you won't leave that burden on your loved one. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a great show with Harry Bowden. And Harry, thank you so much for joining us. And Mr. Tate, thank you for always, Bishop Tate, for being Rick James.
That was one time.
Hey, join us next week right here on Straight Talk with Judge to the Greg Fan, the Preacher Man, and Bishop Tate. And we'll bring Harry back from Casey from time to time. And, Ron, he's working now, but he's coming back. Shannon was with us last week. He still want to talk about contracts. We don't have a contract. And you ain't going to get paid. We'll see you. We'll see you Monday at 11 o'clock at CBC. Concerned Black Clergy of Atlanta, doing a lot of great things on the leadership of Shannon E. Jones. And of course, we've got elections coming up. We're telling everybody. I'm not telling you who to vote for. I'm not telling you how to vote. But I am going to tell you, exercise that right to vote because voting is important. That's the most powerful thing that you have is your vote. If it wasn't so powerful, they wouldn't be trying to do everything they can to stifle us from voting. Till next week, there's another Straight Talk with yours to the Great Fan, the Preacher Man. Subscribe, like, make comments, and share. If you'd like to be on the program, just go to Straight Talk News 1362 at gmail.com. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube. This ain't been nothing but what? Straight Talk.
Want to be a guest on Straight Talk? Email Greg Fan at FANN922@Comcast.net or call 404-308-0795. Join us again for another episode of Straight Talk with Shannon Jones and Greg Fan, the Preacher Man.